Okay. How's everybody doing? This is the BFTAA and More show. We're trying to do a broadcast that we haven't done since we left from our studio to come out here to the remote broadcasting site, and hopefully you will be able to hear me on our KUAW radio. I think. Oh, yeah. Sounds like it's coming through just fine. So let me turn this down. Okay, yeah, I had to do some wiring changes to get it to where we go out on our TuneIn app simultaneously as our video production, and right now we seem to have that working. So I've been grinding away trying to get this ready for 5 o'clock, and it's a little bit after, but here we are. This is the BFTAA and More show. I'm your host, Louis George Walker, and the BFTAA and More show is a product of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. These two groups came together to form a radio station called Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, KUAW Radio. And this is part of our broadcasting on a daily basis, is that we want to give you information and news that you can use to help you in your day-to-day living. We also give you some entertainment and some fun things going on. So as we go through that, we hope that you'll ride with us and that you'll enjoy this day as we learn and as we grow together. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I'll get ready to get with it. One of the things that we always do on this show is we bring you what's going on at NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And we do that we want to inspire our young people, inspire families to look at careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Excuse me. Yes. So we try to show these different things that are going on so that you get excited about it. So tell your kids they can watch a little bit of this, and you can watch it also as we now go to this week at NASA. Let's see.
The next commercial crew test flight to the space station, a new space station module, and another astronomical discovery by Hubble. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. NASA's Boeing Orbital Flight Test 2 mission to the International Space Station is the second uncrewed flight test of the company's CST-100 Starliner spacecraft as part of our commercial crew program. The mission aims to demonstrate the end-to-end capabilities of the Starliner and the Atlas V launch vehicle and provide valuable data towards certifying Boeing's crew transportation system for regular flights with astronauts to and from the space station. A few hours after the Nauka Multipurpose Laboratory module docked to the International Space Station on July 29th, flight controllers noticed the unplanned firing of the module's thrusters, which caused the station to move out of orientation. Ground teams worked to regain attitude control and stabilize the space station, and the crew was never in any danger. Nauka is the new science facility, docking port, and spacewalk airlock for the Russian segment of the station. Meanwhile, the Pirs module left the orbital outpost with a Progress spacecraft on July 26. Pirs had been the previous docking port for Russian spacecraft and airlock for Russian spacewalks since September 2001. New and archival data from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope have helped astronomers uncover evidence of water vapor in the atmosphere of Jupiter's moon Ganymede for the first time. This water vapor forms when ice from the surface of this extremely frigid moon turns from solid to gas. Researchers believe there is an ocean about 100 miles below Ganymede's crust that contains more water than all of the oceans on Earth. Scientists from our Jet Propulsion Laboratory joined international researchers to create an index that tracks how the world's rainforests are responding to threats like our planet's warming climate and human land use. These diverse ecosystems are home to more than half of the planet's life forms and act as a natural slowing mechanism to the increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The index could help policymakers plan for conservation and forest restoration activities. NASA has named 9 winners in the Futurescaping Our Skies Challenge. The competition, conducted through our Aeronautics Research Mission Directorate, asked the public to help envision the future of flight, taking into account how societal, technological, regulatory, environmental, economic, and political changes over the next 30 years might impact aviation and vice versa. Input from the challenge could help us better anticipate aviation needs in the future and make better decisions about technology development today.
3, 1.
July 26th was the 50th anniversary of the launch of astronauts David Scott, Al Worden, and Jim Irwin on Apollo 15, the fourth NASA mission to land humans on the moon. The mission was also the first to use the lunar roving vehicle which Scott and Irwin used during their more than 18 hours of lunar surface exploration, while Worden orbited overhead in the command module. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
So yes, that's some of the things that are going on at NASA right now. We'd like to bring that up to you because we think it's very important for our future and development, research, and all of those things that we have to do to get this country going and moving forward. We're going to go back to NASA for another show, but I want to let you know one of the things that we're going to talk about is an event that we're going to be at called The Bridge that's happening at Harris Park this Saturday coming up, and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and KUAW Radio will be there in person. We're going to see about setting up broadcasting live from the site. So we want you to join us. Come by Harris Park. That's on 40th and Wayne in Kansas City, Missouri. But we got some more information that we'll talk to you about that in just a minute. We also want to talk about some of the math and reading scores that are going on nationwide now that they've had time after the pandemic to kind of look at all of that. So we've got some information about that. And we want to start talking a little bit about your privacy and some of the data that we give up that is being used and that can be used to track you, even though you may not know it. So hang on, we're going to do that right after we get through with our last bit of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This is a piece called Space to Ground. So we're going to get into some Space to Ground, if I can get the video working, in just a second, or in just a minute right now. Looks like we're good. Let's see. Where is it?
Blues and Southern Soul program.
Just a second, we'll get it here. Now, how's that?
Pre-flight to allow ground teams to perform various checkouts and evaluations. At 43 feet long and weighing in at 23 tons, this new MLM will serve as a new science facility while also providing an additional docking port and an airlock for future spacewalk operations. NASA and its commercial crew program partner Boeing are taking another major step forward on the path to regular human spaceflight launches to the International Space Station. The launch of this test flight of Boeing's CST-100 Starliner will demonstrate the end-to-end capability of the spacecraft and Atlas V rocket from launch to docking and then returning to Earth in the desert of the western United States. Liftoff will take place from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. About 31 minutes after launch, Starliner will reach its preliminary orbit before it catches up with the space station. When Starliner docks to the station, it will deliver over 400 pounds of cargo and crew supplies to the ISS. Along with the cargo, Starliner will carry with it Rosie the Rocketeer. An anthropometric test device, Rosie, combined with 15 sensors deployed throughout the capsule, will provide insight into how much force a human body would experience while in all phases of a mission aboard the Starliner and Atlas. Coverage of the Boeing Orbital Flight Test 2 mission, from launch to hatch opening, will air live on NASA television, the NASA app, and the agency's website. Be sure to join us and cheer Rosie and the Starliner on. And that's Space to Ground for this week. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Subscribe for more space.
All right. Yeah, that's a little bit of Space to Ground for you. See if we can get that out of here. Yeah, so that's things going on with NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Hope you enjoyed that. And we do that every week. So we bring you some of the things that are happening. So if you want to tell your kids you have some that are interested in space or science, that they can check that out. Also, you can take your kids to the nasa.gov site, and there's a lot of interactive activities that they can get involved in and contests and games that they can play. So that would be a good thing for you to do as this summer is coming to an end, is go to nasa.gov and check it out. They've got some some things for young people that are really great, really good science projects and games that they can play while they also learn at the same time. Now, I want to get into one of the things that I wanted to talk about. I was looking at an article today. It came from a K through 12 dive. So this was a report. It says reports of math reading progress slowed during the first full school year of the pandemic. So since we've had time and we've been through a school year of the pandemic, we found out that math and reading progress slowed. It didn't go backwards. A lot of people were wondering if kids were going back, but they just didn't progress as fast as they should. So it slowed down in their year. Says testing results released Wednesday are a cause for both optimism because of the modest school year upward trajectory of math and reading gains, and concern because of the lower rates of gains compared to a typical school year, particularly for students of color and students attending high poverty schools. So that's the thing, is that they did not advance through the year. So that's falling behind. If in your fourth grade year, you're supposed to end up at a fifth grade level, but you only got to 4.5, then you fell behind. So that's kind of what happened, is they didn't see as much progress. It says their analysis focused on the assessments of over 5.5 million students. That's what they tested in grades 3 to 8 who took these tests. Now, they did find that a lot of schools that had underserved populations had a higher dropout rate of test takers. Not that they dropped out of school, but of test takers. So the scores may be a little bit off, but it says testing results from the fall of 2020 and the latest assessment analysis shows larger declines in math achievement compared to reading. So they lost more in math than they did in reading. Reading achievement in spring of 2021 was 3 to 6 percentile points lower than pre-pandemic achievement levels. Average math performances were worse at 8 to 12 percentage points or percentile points lower than a typical year. So the kids weren't moving as fast. I think most of us probably assumed that was going to happen because of the disruption to the school that we had. In fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders, all of them, there was almost a similar drop. So there were slower rates of gain in math and reading through the year. It says younger students, such as those in grade 3, had declines in math and reading performance larger in magnitude than results for older students. So this was really a rough year on the younger students, and they went through more changing and maybe had a harder time doing remote learning and achieving, through that, and parents trying to find babysitters and everything else going on. It seemed to have more of an effect on the younger students. It says the greatest rates of decline were experienced by Black and Latinx students in grades 3 through 5 in reading, and by students taking math assessments in grade 3 through 5 who identify as American Indian, Alaska Natives, Black, and Latinx. So those were the groups that did not do as well this last year. Students in high poverty schools had a greater decline in median achievement percentile points, which on the average was nearly double that of low poverty schools from 2019 to 2021. So being from a high poverty school puts you behind even more than from a low poverty school. So it kind of shows economically, your standings economically can affect your learning as we go through the year. And they don't give you the reasons why that would be if you're both going to school, but that is a thing that helps perpetuate poverty in communities, that if through education you're coming out with a lower rate of education, then you're not going to be able to do as well as others that have a better education. So we've got to find a way to bring the high poverty schools' education levels up. And I know that's something that's been being worked on, but we can't stop. We have to look at it, because if we don't, we're going to have a lot of problems. And it's not like we don't have problems already. Another thing it says is additionally, attrition rates for students who identify as American Indian, Alaska Native, Black, and Latinx are even higher, leading some researchers to caution academic achievement gains in 2021 may be overestimated compared to prior school years. It meant that less of the students took these tests, and it could be because the schools had problems. They didn't know about how to, issue them, how to do them through the pandemic year. But it was fewer American Indian, Alaskan, Black, and Latinx students that took the test than the year before. So you're not maybe getting a good look at what those populations are doing because a lot of them didn't get to take the test, or they just didn't show up. They call it as attrition rates. And that was like 1 in 5. That was like 20% less than the year before. So all of those students didn't just disappear, but did they not get to go to school? Did they not know about the test? Were they able to do it online and stuff? They were said that they were done remotely or being able to be done virtually and online. But with 20% less participation from the minority community, we may be missing a lot of data. It says that the company found, and this was McKinsey & Company, another company that did the test. The tests were done by 3 different companies, or this data was given. It was company NWEA, which it doesn't give me what that stands for, Amplify, and McKinsey & Company. So they confirmed that the year-end learning gains lagged those made in prior to the pandemic years. So that is a thing that we're looking at. It says the number was greater for Black and Hispanics that were behind, both which ended the year 6 months behind in math, while their white counterparts finished 4 months behind. So it didn't say that everybody was doing good. The white students were 4 months behind, and black students finished 6 months behind for their grade level. It says lags in math, however, were still more pronounced for low-income students who finished 7 months behind expectations on average. Oh, that's bad. In reading, differences between black and white students were double, with students 6 to 3 months behind respectively. Hispanic students were 5 months behind. So all the students were behind in their learning. Black students and Hispanic students were even farther behind. So that's showing that we had a bad year for our young people. We let them down. We did not do what needed to be done for them to continue their education on a good level. And if you get behind sometimes in the early grades, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, that can carry. That can be something that is hard to remedy or to catch up with, because you still have to keep learning every year. So it says the end of year data from another company, Amplify, they got data from about 400,000 students in 1,400 schools, which tended to be in large urban metro area, and it shows losses in literacy, that's reading, also impacted younger students in grades K through 3 compared to years prior to the pandemic. The differences were most pronounced among black and Hispanic students, who had gaps when compared to their white counterparts in every early grade. However, in 1st and 3rd grades especially, black students increasingly were placed in high-risk categories, while fewer white students were flagged, and in some cases the latter group even improved. So that's the thing that we have to look at. Some of our kids at early ages are being marked, being flagged, that they're not keeping up, they're not making their gains at a high rate. And you say, well, they'll catch up or they can't. And it maybe they don't. Maybe they stay behind quite a bit, and that could be a problem. It says there could be, the big picture is that while students across grades and subgroups have made progress this year, struggling Hispanic and black students are still catching up to middle of year levels from prior to the pandemic. That big picture includes long-term implications. Now check this out. According to McKinsey & Company, what it means today's students could earn between $49,000 to $61,000 less during their lifetime due to the pandemic's impact on their learning unless schools intervene. So 49,000, you may not say, or 61,000, 49 to 61,000 less during their lifetime. So that means that they may earn 2,000 less a year, 5,000 less a year. Who knows for times? But it adds on to lower earnings already. Black earnings, Hispanic earnings are behind the white earnings already. So if you lose more, that doesn't help you catch up. That puts you a little farther behind. We've got to work on that. And they said that there are things that we can do. There is some emergency funding that the schools need to apply for, need to get distributed so they can use it, that will help the schools work on improving their educational outcomes. It says the recommendations include expanding the instructional time and opportunities for students. So to have more time, more classes, school longer, which you'd have to pay teachers more, continue to provide access to remote learning technology for students. So they should keep doing that. Providing professional development opportunities for educators. Yes, we need to help our teachers out. Using formative, interim, and summative assessments to measure students' progress. So they want to do more testing, basically, so that they know what they're doing. But this is a thing that we have to look at, is that, and we know right now the pandemic isn't over. This was written, and they were looking at last school year's pandemic results. So we've got a situation with school getting ready to start again, and we don't know where it's going. They're wanting to have the kids in class, in person, and that seems to be one of the best ways for them to learn. But it maybe if they had more technology, if the teachers were trained better in using the technology, that we could still, if we don't go to school, if they do have to be pulled back out of school, that they won't fall farther behind. We've got to look at that. So school's going to start. I think all the school districts are planning on have students in person. Everybody in education has seen reports like this and know that the kids have fallen behind. And that's one thing that, we all can say we've got to improve on. So keep your eye on what's going on at your school, what your students are doing. And if you're a part of a PTA or any group working with the school, find out if they've applied for these extra funds, if they're wanting to do any special programs to help the students and all the students to help them catch up, because all fell behind, not just Black, not just white, not just Hispanic, but it's just different degrees of them being behind. So we need to bring all the students' levels up. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. Wanted to bring you that information. I thought that report was pretty interesting. Let's see, where did I get that from? In case you want to look it up yourself. Let's see, reports that reading progress slowed during first full school year of pandemic. This is out of K-12 DIVE. So if you go online, this report is in K-12 space DIVE, K through 12 dive. So you can pull that up. It was on LinkedIn. I saw the article and pulled it up from there. So, and it was written by, who is this? Kara Arndale and Naz Moden. Published July 28th, 2021. So we want to thank them for doing the research, getting the information out. Now, as parents, as community members, you don't have to have kids in school to care about education, because that has something to do with our country, with the world, to move forward, is that we have to be educated. Our populations have to be educated. So we all got a dog in this fight, because if the school system and all that goes down, we're in the same boat. So let's see what we can do on that. Want to thank all of you guys for tuning in today, and for the tune-in listeners that are now able to get us live and not a replay. We're glad that you're here, glad that you're able to listen to KUAW Radio live when we do the live shows. That's on our audio side only. So for those of you that watch us on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, all of those sites, you see the live shows when we do the live shows. Well, we also have an audio side that they can hear and listen to our shows all the time when we're on. So now they're listening to these shows live. We broadcast different shows 24 hours a day on the audio side. So you can listen to music, you can listen to talk shows, you can listen to syndicated shows. All you got to do, if you got a computer, you got a laptop, go to KUAW.org, pick one of the radio stations out. You can do that on your phone, from your tablet, from whatever. Go to www.kuaw.org and you can pick us up. If you've got a Bluetooth enabled phone and car, you can listen to us in your car. You just put it on KUAW on the TuneIn app, and the TuneIn app will bring it right in on your radio if you've got your Bluetooth hooked up. So we're on TuneIn, and that's on available to be picked up on your radio, on your phone, through your Bluetooth, so that's great. We also can be listened to on any of your smart speakers, whether they're Apple, Amazon, Google. I'll tell them to play KUAW, and you'll get us. Also, you can go to the online radio box. We're there. Yes, and we're on mytuner.com. We're on Radio Garden. And we're on our website, www.kuaw.org. So there's a lot of places you can listen to KUAW Radio 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So be sure and stay tuned. Take us with you in the car. Take us with you as you go on vacation. You can stay up on what's going on. This is Kansas City's global community radio station, KUAW. Stands for Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. All right. So the next thing I want to show you that's coming up, and if you want to meet some of the people from KUAW, let's see if we can bring this up. There you go. We got a image there on the screen, and that's from an event that we'll be a part of. Let me get a little out of my face. Elevating Men. That's an organization that's about helping men become all they can be. It's for all men. It's called Elevating Men. So Elevating Men presents, The Bridge, Connecting Boys and Men. This is going to be going on Saturday, August the 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's going to be food, a bounce house, basketball, team building activities, and more. So KUAW Radio, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, we will be at this event. We'll be having information that we pass out telling you how you can get your kids, boys and girls, involved in our robotics programs and some of the technology programs that we do at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center and virtually. So be sure and come by Saturday, August the 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You say, where? It's at Harris Park. Now, you know about Harris Park? Harris Park is at 4029 Wayne in Kansas City, Missouri. It's not part of the Kansas City, Missouri park system. It is a park that was started by a man named Charles Harris. Yes, he bought a block, or Chris Harris, Chris Harris, he bought a block and decided that he was going to create a park to help the community, the youth in the Ivanhoe neighborhood. And he's been developing that. I think it's about 20 years from what I could look up on it. It's the Ivanhoe Community Park. It's located at 4029 Wayne. So it's right off of 39th Street, a block off of 39th Street on Wayne. And they've made a beautiful facility. And this is a man that wanted to help his community. Harris Park provides supervised and structured environment for empowering youth to develop self-esteem, basic life skills, respect for the rights of others and property, all through sports, fitness, cultural, and educational programming. Initially focusing on youth and sports, Harris Park will be able to draw in the parents, siblings, grandparents, relatives, friends of the young people. Harris Park will then offer specific programming to address the needs and interests of Ivanhoe adults and neighbors. Harris Park intends to have a significant positive impact on improving the lives and aspirations for all citizens of the Ivanhoe neighborhood. So this is part of the Ivanhoe neighborhood. HP Harris Park has developed offerings to adhere to objectives as set out by the article Urban Parks and Partners in Youth Development by Marjorie Austin Turner in the Urban Institute Wallace Foundation brief. So that's how they kind of came up with this idea and using it. So it concludes that to realize their full potential as community resources for youth development, community parks can and should go beyond recreation. So that's a park that has been started. It's part of the urban parks, or it's not part of a national organization, but of a thing of having these urban parks that provide things into the city. Says the vision of Harris Park will be to improve the lives and aspirations of the citizens in Kansas City's Ivanhoe neighborhood and its environs. The mission to provide a structured environment that empowers the community to develop basic life skills, self-esteem, respect for property, and the respect for the rights of others. So this is a community resource. Chris Harris was the park's founder, and he has worked for the past 20 years to improve the Ivanhoe neighborhood. He grew up there, he's working there. Chris has lived in Ivanhoe for most of his life. Although there remains much to do to improve the area, his efforts have had a very positive impact on Ivanhoe neighborhood and its residents. He has purchased his dream with very limited financial and manpower resources. So that's, this is a guy that decided he wanted to do something. That's one thing you have to look at. Sometimes it doesn't take a large group. If you have that dream, if God has given you a vision, you just start working on it. There's no telling where help will come, but you don't ask how. You just start. So it says in the fall of 2016, a group of financial and business backers agreed to join with Chris to move his dream to a higher level, a level he never thought possible. The new group is planning to raise and invest in the $1.5 to $2 million range to transform this park into an extraordinary community resource, sports and fitness and learning center. So yeah, he started off out of his pocket, and then help comes. So sometimes all you got to do is get started. Everybody doesn't have the vision. Everybody doesn't have the dream. If it's been given to you, then you act upon it. And then, you do that work. And then help can come. Help will come if you're doing a positive thing. Chris Harris, he grew up in Kansas City in the 70s in the Ivanhoe neighborhood. And he says he has fond memories of life in and around his home, located directly across from his dream now. So that's where he lives, right across the street from it, the Midtown Sports and Activity Center. As he grew up and pursued his education, the old neighborhood gradually fell into decline. We know about, the crack epidemic and all of that happened through the 80s and 90s. Recruited from Penn Valley Community College in Kansas City, Chris attended Cardinal Stritch University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and while there he majored in sociology and played basketball as a member of the 1998 Stritch team that reached national tournament level play. So after graduating, Chris returned to Kansas City to become assistant coach with the Kansas City Knights basketball team. It was during this time that the conditions in his old neighborhood began to cause him concern, but also sparked a dream. In 1998 and 99, he purchased an entire city block across from his childhood home and began a transformation of that block into a supervised park for community children and youth. Now at 40th Street and Wayne stands that dream made real. The decaying buildings are gone. In their place is a 4-acre park with basketball courts, volleyball courts, horseshoe pitches, and a children's playground. The amenities are just a catalyst for what Chris hopes to do. It's the magnet that brings younger people in to play and older people to watch, he says. Our goal is to take advantage of that mixing and mingling and to add a wide variety of educational programming. So it's a great thing going on there. I've been to the park. Our church, Second Missionary Baptist Church, went down there back when Pastor Ford, and it was in the earlier days. That's probably been 10, 15 years ago. So Chris has been continually working with this. So there's going to be an event. They've had events. They've had car shows there. I think just last weekend there was a back to school car show and things that went on in the park. And they're going to have the bridge connecting boys and men Saturday, August the 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will be down at the bridge. That is the KUAW and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. You can meet some of the people that you hear on air. You've seen their shows. Chris, T-Baby won't be there because she's now doing her show from Houston, Texas. But Tyrone Gathers, who has the Source of the Inkwell, and Chris Jackson, who does street therapy. They're planning on being there. I myself will be there. And we're inviting all of the KUAW family to come down. We're also inviting all of the Black Family Technology Awareness members, friends, alumni, students that have been in our robotics program. We want you to come down. Tell the other young people what robotics has done, what fun and what it's done in your life. If it's done anything, let them know. So if you're a student, if you've been in the BFTAA robotics Lego program or VEX program, we invite you to come down and join us this Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m. We'll be having our robots down there. We're going to see about getting some giveaways, and we'll also have information that lets you know how you can get involved with this robotics program, how you can enroll your children, and how you can volunteer to help out. We're still looking for volunteer coaches for our Lego robotics program. We're planning on doing all the programs live, but due to the pandemic, we may have to start off the year in a virtual format. but we're going to be making our plans to work with our kids one-on-one because that's best. But if we have to, we'll work with them virtually. But if you're a parent or if you know some kids or a grandparent and you'd like to get your child involved in a robotics program, come down to the bridge this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and get some information on how you can enroll your child in the Black Family Technology Awareness Association's robotics program. So that's what I wanted to tell you about today. We hope to see you down there this Saturday. Thank you for coming and watching the BFTAA and More show. Tell your friends about it. We'll be here every Monday from 5 to 5:45. KUAW Radio, Kansas City, Missouri. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. This is Kansas City's global community radio station. And I ask you to stay tuned now. At 6 o'clock, we're going to have B. Michael Long. Yes, B. Michael Long will be here with Shifting Paradigms. So be ready to get your mind expanded more. Yeah, stay tuned for B. Michael Long and Shifting Paradigms right here, this same station, same bad channel at 6 p.m. So you got about 15 minutes and he'll be on. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know. Hit us up on Facebook. Let me know on YouTube or whatever. Leave me a message. I'd be glad to hear from you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.